Welcome to the show, Prof. Welcome, Doc, and also Dr. Linda. So, Prof, tell me about Academicity. How's the journey been? It's been a year? How many years?
It's been about 2.5 years.
How has it been so far?
Started. I'm still on, so it's exciting. And as you can see in this particular call, we have Dr. Lucy Ajipon, Dr. Lucy Day, who have all...
Linda Day.
They've all joined, which means the team is getting bigger. And I'm getting some help, obviously. So hopefully some of this gray gets to recede. But it's going well, starting with 200 applications the first year. We're now looking at about 500, 600 applications coming in. So I think our message is getting out there to the right set of audience, that we have something really premium to offer, and we are pushing right in the premium space of what higher education ought to be in Ghana.
What programs are you offering, and what's unique about these programs?
So we have programs in engineering, specifically mechanical, electrical, computer engineering, computer science. We have programs in IT. We have School of Communication Arts, offering public relations and journalism. We have programs in business administration, so accounting, finance, HR, and marketing.
A lot of programs.
Yes.
Just 2 years old. That's amazing. Where are you guys located?
We are located in Hacho. The Agbogba people like to say we're in Agbogba, so we're happy to have two towns struggling. So on our address, it says Agbogba Hacho. We're just off transitions, so if you're coming in from the Medina side, you just make a quick right at transition, and we are where they used to call Boshe.
Brings you straight.
Or from the Medina side, you just keep going straight on the Ritz Road towards Ashoman.
It's a beautiful campus. Right. I visited a few, I think this is March when COVID started. It's a beautiful campus. It is really, really nice.
Thank you.
Yeah. Talk to us about your teaching style and your learning style and approach.
Okay, so that is quite interesting. So we like to look at a university as comprising of two parts. The hardware, which is what you just alluded to, the beautiful, excellent campus, nice landscape, lighting, classrooms, equipment. And then there is a software aspect, which is how do you really deliver? And for us, we define our paradigms around 4 key areas, which is it has to be contextual. It has to be relevant to the African experience. We have to be solving African problems, independent of what field. It's whether we offer courses in those areas or not, it's immaterial, because for us, we are teaching problem solvers. It has to be experiential. You have to touch and feel. We have to transition from the unanswered story to really building real things. Actually, unanswered stories are really beautiful. There's a lot of wisdom in them. The whole cloud thing, network, is all from unanswered webs. We like to be contextual. We like to be extensional, which means that we can't teach everything in 4 years. So how do we tool you so that you can go out there and extend the knowledge that we provide? And I think one thing that sets us apart from all institutions, and I can speak to that because I've had the privilege of being to some of the finest ones, is unified learning.
Unified learning.
So every semester we get students from across disciplines to work on common projects together.
I like that.
Nice.
Bringing exactly what happens in the real world, Even within Citi FM, I'm sure it's not everybody that is in the studio, but it takes that system to keep this place going. And that's what we try to bring to the students very early on. So some of the past COVID is really how do we bring that body of knowledge together to build a ventilator system. We had our communication arts students in the workshop recording and interviewing us, right? So that they can write about technical things. We had marketing students trying to figure out how do they get to go out there and sell us. And then you had computer engineering students, electrical engineering students, mechanical students, all working together to build a system. Because it takes more than one discipline to put anything in the marketplace.
I like the holistic approach that you've taken to that. Okay, let's talk about women for a second. And Dr. Ejapong, you're here.
Yes.
Now, we hear a lot about STEM education and now STEAM.
Yes.
The A has come in there as well.
It has.
And we know it's a male-dominated field, right? But you're trying to encourage more women to get into engineering. So tell us about how you're doing that at Academicity.
It's quite funny. When you come to Academicity, apart from Fred, I think all the senior management are women.
Lovely.
So you have the Dean of Engineering, myself, a woman, Linda, who's on the line, also a woman. Our Director of Admissions is a woman. Our admissions managers are all women, because we believe women, not to advocate or say anything about men, but I think women are fantastic and we are phenomenal. So what we're doing at Academicity is that we do target STEM-focused schools as well. So we have these outreach programs. We go to schools like Wesley Girls, we've been to Holy Child, and we even give scholarships to girls in STEM, girls who want to study STEM. So I think 2 years ago was Elizabeth Theo. Last year we gave the head girl of Holy Child School full presidential scholarship so that they can actually study.
Holy Child School. She went to Holy Child.
That's my school, so
okay.
I'm very happy about that.
I went to Wesley Girls.
Cape Coast Sisters. It's all right. It's all right.
So-
Cape Coast Sisters. Yeah.
So we actually encourage them because we want to demystify this notion that STEM is a difficult subject. And in actual fact, it isn't, because in everything that we do, the way of life, even how we cook in the kitchen, is an application of science. So we want to try and encourage more women, encourage more girls. And we have been deliberate in our target approach that exposing girls to STEM early and letting them know that they also can do it will motivate them to be able to do that.
All right. So you talked about the ventilator. You briefly hinted on that. Can you just elaborate a bit more about that project and how you got your students involved in it?
Yeah, so when COVID hit, I put my management team together and I said, look, the moment we hit number 9 of infections in Ghana, we're going to shut this university down. And so I think it was a Monday that the country got shut down. On that Friday, I posted a notice on Facebook saying, are there people out there that would like to volunteer and work on a ventilator? Because cowering in the shadows, running away from challenges, is really not what engineers do. We're supposed to stand up, when there is crisis and to solve it. And believe it or not, I had over 100 responses from across the world of volunteers. And so I brought them on campus, and 13 people signed up. Half of them were my students. There was another one that was my ex-student from my days at Ashasi, and some workers in the medical devices field. And we started. And we just started exploring different prototypes, understanding the physics and the biology of how ventilators worked. And what Bernard saw when he came were the early stages one, which means that if somebody needed air, we could deliver air with a simple piston-driven mechanism. And we've transitioned all the way to the point where we have actually developed a system that helps with the non-invasive aspects of breathing.
Wow.
So we can deliver medical air, which is room temperature air, which is about 21% oxygen, and we can also couple that with oxygen. So we can deliver that to you today with a face mask on. The next stage we're looking at, which has been quite challenging, especially getting equipment to do that, is the intubulation, where the person is really in critical condition and you have to insert stuff into their lungs. Yeah. Then if you do that, you need to be able to quantify the volume of air that is going into them. And also in the event that they begin to breathe, you should be able to detect that so that you don't drown them in air. So we just got some equipment. So the next stage is really to move towards that. The guidance we got from GIZ, and GIZ has been quite enthusiastic about what we're doing. They posted our pictures on the German embassy homepage. The next stage now is how do we develop the intubulation? But they're also telling us that really the critical need is at the non-invasive side, which is really what we have.
Okay.
So we are looking for strategic partners. Anybody interested to take this?
Can
to
I
the
just
next
say
stage?
something on that? Ben, we want to say big thank you to you because you propelled us when you did the first ventilator piece. And actually, Professor Alex Dodu, Ghana Standards Authority, on hearing this news, actually visited our campus many times, and now we've become strategic partners as well. Wow. So he's become quite integral to what you do. And I thought we would mention this.
Have you received my card
you.
yet? Wow.
Professor Dodu has
So the
been
power of
champion.
a good idea and good storytelling.
Yes.
So that project is really going on.
It's going on. And I have to say, our students were critical to this. So if you look at where Prof was talking about, the bit that connects it all together, the control systems were actually handled by our second year electrical, electronic, computer engineering, and mechanical engineering students. And I have to say, the mechanical engineering students, the two of them, were both women.
That's right.
So you keep rubbing it in.
We will keep rubbing it in.
And now we're actually looking at a ventilator for your home.
Yes.
How do you integrate a ventilation system in the modern home of the future?
Okay, let's talk to the Dr. Linda Day, Faculty of Business, Entrepreneurship and Communication Arts. Doc, thank you for joining us on Citi FM. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, sir.
Good to have you. What is Academicity doing to ensure learning and teaching continues during this pandemic?
We, at the beginning, way back in March, we had issues around having to quickly, transition online virtually. We have now actually put processes in place strategically to ensure that we have structures and processes in place. We have had a lot of lessons learned from last semester. And so what we've done is we have made sure that we have supplied our students with a monthly data supply for internet as well as our faculty. We are being very strategic in terms of the way that we are enabling experiential learning, and we talk about replicating that online. We currently have a dedicated team committed to developing a series of scheduled and ongoing training workshops focused on online delivery for our faculties throughout the academic year, and subsequently ongoing training for students as well. Every student and faculty also supported with the relevant equipment and gear, as well as software to support their experiences. We obviously have had to take our digital library database quite seriously and have populated our knowledge hub with relevant books, I beg your pardon, for our program. So, we are doing everything we can. We don't envisage that we'll go back to old normal. And that means that we need to ensure that we have a blended approach. And I guess all the other higher education institutions are most likely to go down the same route. And we will continue to explore new ways in which we use online tools and learning strategies to maintain and potentially enhance our students' learning experience and engagement, which is key for Academicity.
So what would you consider as a successful or well-rounded student, and how do you measure that?
Well, I think that one word that captures Academicity graduates is freedom. And I talk about freedom really piggybacking on what Dr. Fred said earlier about the fact that definitely what we are not doing to our graduates is nurturing them, in such a way that they wake up one day and say to themselves, I've succeeded, I'm done. We think this is limiting. What we want to do is really get graduates who are going on a journey, right? And graduates who will aim to ask the right questions during their career journey. And that is really what we are aiming to do, during their 4 years in Academicity, which is to provide them with a toolkit that helps them to ask the right questions, ask those right questions in the right context, and consider all the factors and drivers within that ecosystem to make the right decision. If we get the formula right, which I think is what we are doing, Dr. Lucy has just mentioned women being really part of the management team, and I think we're all striving to do a good job. Is that the graduate becomes a professional lifelong learner who will have all the challenges of industry, especially the challenges that we have in a complex African continent that we do, and whatever is thrown at them, they will not only survive, but also create business opportunities out of them. So, no doubt, these are the kind of professionals Academicity is bringing to the continent.
All right, thank you, Doc, for joining us. I'll end with my guys in studio. So, what are your closing thoughts?
So one thing I'd like to touch on is that what we're doing at Academicity as well, that is very different, is that we're trying to prepare our graduates for the jobs of the future. I mean, if you look around you right now, there are new jobs that we never thought of. There are social influencers, data analysts. And 10 years, 15 years ago, you wouldn't have heard of these professions. So at Academicity, what we're doing is that we are in the process of launching 3 of our new programs. We've just gone through accreditation for them. We're going to be launching artificial intelligence as a whole undergraduate course, biomedical engineering, and robotics engineering. We think it's in the overlap of these technologies that actually provide the unique research areas for the future. We believe the jobs of the future actually lies within this. And even though we're currently going accreditation for those programs on their own, we've infused these technologies within our current curriculum. So even our mechanical engineering in their level 300, 400, get an opportunity to study specialties within robotics. Electrical students get the opportunity to merge and touch on artificial intelligence. We want them to be versatile, and we want them so that by the time they graduate, they don't have to wait for technologies to come from abroad, but we want them to be leaders in their own field and make it relevant for our country that we live in.
Thank you, Dr. Japon. Thank you, Dr. Linda Day. Thank you, Dr. Fred McBagonluri, my good friend. I wish you well with your journey at Academicity. We'll talk again soon. Sure. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you.